I want you to take a moment to ask yourself, hmm, when was the last time I pushed through fear and took a risk? And it's very important that you add the because I'm reading the Your Big Leap Year, the daily devotional by Gay Hendricks. And in it, he talks about the power of wonder, like wondering. It kind of like takes off any way that you could be defensive, any way that you could hold back, and you're just wondering. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just asking a question. What's wrong with asking a question? And so just wondering. And so when you just go, hmm, you open yourself to deeper truths than you could even realize, you know? And so that's why it's very important to like have the in front of the question. So when I'm going through the daily devotional, he'll ask us questions, like a question a day, and it'll have uh, um in front of it. So the question of today is, when is the last time I pushed through fear and took a risk? Today we're talking about courage, y'all. Oh, I know. We're talking about courage. We're talking about why God is like slamming this on my forehead in this season, what I'm learning in this season about courage. Yeah, what is teaching me how I'm overcoming fear, how I'm overcoming my doubts. You know, we're talking about the bravery that it takes to push through your doubts and certain setbacks and certain mental limitations that you might have, and but like the confidence, the strength, the like new sense of self that's on the other side. Like I have this running theory that there's nothing on the other side of fear. I can't explain it. I know I sound crazy. Just let me sit with it for a second. There's nothing on the other side of fear. Because you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so scary. How am I going to do it?" And then you get to the other side and you're like, "Oh, that's what this was? That's crazy." All right. you know. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'm using a day from the John Maxwell devotional. So I am actually going through two devotionals right now. I'm reading the John Maxwell Daily Reader, and I'm reading Your Big Leap Year. Sorry, by Gay Hendricks. So this is from the other day, and I have to share it because it's been 4 days now, and I keep going back to this because it did something for me. All right. So we're gonna read the Daily Reader. This is on courage. The title is Courage. Larry Osborne offers this observation: the most striking thing about highly effective leaders is how little they have in common. What one swears by, another one warns against. All right. But one trait stands out: the willingness to risk. Fear limits a leader. Roman historian Tacitus, I'm going to say, wrote, "The desire for safety stands against every great and noble enterprise." I'm going to read it again if you didn't catch that. The desire for safety, perceived safety, stands against every great and noble enterprise. But courage has the opposite effect. It opens doors. That's one of the most wonderful benefits. Perhaps that's why British theologian John Henry Newman said, "Fear not that your life will come to an end, but that it will never have a beginning." Excuse me? This one, I don't know why. This one I felt like they were like, "Lynn, this is one is for you. Fear not that your life will come to an end." You ain't got to worry about that, okay? You're going to go to heaven to be with him. But that it will never have a beginning. I do not want to go about life idly and not know that I didn't even taste the what is it, the tip of the iceberg of what God had in store for me. Absolutely not. That's unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. Okay? I'm gonna read it one more time for the people in the back. Fear not that your life will come to an end, but that it will never have a beginning. That's scary. That can't be my life. Courage not only gives you a good beginning, but it also provides a better future. What's ironic is that those who don't have the courage to take risks and those who do experience the same amount of fear in life. So the people who don't have the courage to take risks and the people who do, we all are experiencing the same amount of fear. The only difference is that Those who don't take chances worry about trivial things. If you're going to have to overcome your fears and doubts anyway, you might as well make it count. You might as well make it count, all right? Eleanor Roosevelt. Why would my Kindle go to sleep on me as I'm reading? Do you not know that I'm currently giving a TED Talk? Thank you. Eleanor Roosevelt acknowledged, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the eye. The thing that pushed you, but it didn't break you. The season that you navigated, that you were like, this is crazy. Am I actually gonna get through this? Oh, you added another thing. Oh, and another thing. Okay, all right. Okay, let's see if I get through this. You gain strength, courage, confidence when you overcame that thing. You're like, oh, okay, cool. I got through. I'm stronger. I can push myself more. I feel more confident in myself. I feel good. By every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the eye, you're like, you know what? Let's see what the season is giving. Okay. I lived through this horror. No, sorry. You're able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. I don't know about y'all, but when I read this, the way I wanted to throw this Kindle across the country, because I'm like, I have had one too many experiences. And I say this so often, so it was just very reaffirming that I saw this. But like, I've had so many instances where I could have given up on life, where I could have been like, you know what? Pack it up. Pack it up, wrap it up, because I'm not the one. I don't know why God wants to think I'm his strongest soldier. It ain't me. How am I going to get through this season? Like, how am I gonna make it through? And somehow, some way, I overcome every time. And so when the next thing comes along, I am able to say, I lived through that. I'm gonna be good over here. This is nothing compared to that. You gain confidence. You get a little swag. You're like, you know what? You know what I'm saying? You change your walk a little bit. You're like, I overcame that. I'm not afraid. Whatever you got coming for me, let's do it. I'm gonna face it head on. You must do the thing you cannot do. It's a must. It's not a choice. It's not an option. You must do the thing that you think you cannot do. I'm just gonna read it one more time for me, please. Eleanor Roosevelt acknowledged, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look at fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Do something you're afraid of today. Actually, this is an excerpt from the 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader, if you want to dig in some more. I love how it's like every day is like an excerpt from one of his books. But courage, back to the question from the beginning. When was the last time I pushed through fear and took a risk? It's so funny because I'm trying to think of something deeper. I'm trying to think of something bigger. I'm trying to think of something grand to say here. But honestly, the one thing that keeps coming to mind is when I submitted my work in a photo project with Like a Gallery Boston a couple months ago. I recorded it on here, and I'm so glad that I documented that because I was so afraid to share my story in this room. So the project it's actually a collaboration between Like a Gallery Boston, a podcast called Concept Aware by Jay Sibylla. Sorry, I'm not remembering her last name right now. And then a Yellow Rose Project, based out of my city, actually. So a Yellow Rose Project is basically a project where a group of women photographers came together to share reflections on the ratification of the 19th Amendment. So they put out this call, people submitted their work, they turned that project into a book, and now they're, like, as we speak, they're touring around with the book, and sharing the story from the first edition of, this project that they put together. So it feels like now they have enough to like make a second book, and maybe I'm gonna be in that book, you know, because I shared my story and stuff. um but I so the perspective that I wanted to bring to this is that, like, although the 19th Amendment was not ratified, not a lot of women, not every woman got the ability to vote. Not Native American women, not Black women, certainly not immigrants, right? And it's a layered conversation. It's a layered conversation around, you're an immigrant, when you become a citizen, when you get the right to vote. You're a citizen of another country, so obviously you can't vote in this country, but also, what if you've been living here for 20 years and you're still not a citizen, but you pay taxes here? Hello? You pay taxes here, you show up here, you are a, you know, a member of society that tries to do right and walk along the right path, but yet still you don't belong, you're not enough, you don't belong, you're not enough, you know. And so that's the perspective that I wanted to bring to this conversation around the ratification of the 19th Amendment. I'm like, Black women didn't get to vote, but also immigrant women didn't get to vote. Obviously, like, someone else had to speak up for you. And then I'm like, you know, I've been living in this country for close to 20 years. I've never voted. Yo, I've never voted. I'm turning 28 this year. I've never voted, not once in my life. Who knows when I'm ever gonna get to vote? Um, and so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be in this space. I already know it's gonna be predominantly white. It's okay. I can fare well for myself, but I'm talking about something that's like a very difficult topic during a very difficult time. And like, especially right now, there's like a spotlight on Haiti, like varied discussions around immigration. I don't want to make this awkward for people. um this is very tough. How am I going to navigate this? Should I not? And I just wrestled with it. I can link my videos in the description box, but um I'm so glad I recorded that, because I I have a video right before where I was like, I just submitted it. I'm so scared. And then, like, after, at the event, where I was like, oh, that was actually a pretty good time. And then, like, I had a deeper reflection a couple of days later. And then so I pushed through that fear. I pushed through that fear. This was my first time. Like, I talk about immigration, yeah, in one-on-one conversations if it comes up. But I always hesitated around sharing my story because I didn't want to be burdensome. I didn't want to be like, oh my God, you don't have to feel guilty for me. I don't want people to feel like I'm guilt shaming. Girl, it's just, I'm just saying this is my story, okay? Um, and so I pushed through that fear. I pushed through that fear and I shared my story in that room. And the way these people were like so kind, the way these people were so understanding, the way these people just like embraced me and my story. And also, it was really cool because I got to share my perspective as an immigrant living in this country, never having gotten the opportunity to vote, yada 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 yada, and dealing like certain like policy changes, they affect me personally. And so, but also I heard stories of women who like go the extra mile to volunteer at the polls, get the people to the polls, get people to vote. They like, they spread the word. Like, it's almost like I'm like, I don't know what to do, and they're like, I'm the person helping you. You know what I mean? In a on the back end, in a way that you never knew. You know. Another thing with this, what I'm learning with sharing my story and pushing through the fear and pushing to the doubt and all of it, is that the more I share my story, the more I help to give face to a certain issue. You know what I mean? It's like, you hear, oh, immigration in America, crazy, crazy. But now they have a lens. Like, oh yeah, I remember I went to that event and this girl was talking about da da da. This must be what she was talking about. When they see it on the news, when they hear topic of conversations around it. But also for me, when I'm like, I feel like nobody's speaking up for me in this space. No, I have faces. There were at least 5 people in the room who do the thing of going out of the way and get people to vote and get people educated around policies and things. So now I have a face to put to it. You know what I mean? That was a time that I pushed through the fear of sharing my own story. Sharing my story with others who don't know. And I'm so glad, like, When I tell you it's nothing on the other side of fear, it's actually annoyance on the other side of fear. Because, like, I would be doing myself a great disservice if I didn't actually start talking about this publicly. I haven't spoken about this much publicly because I'm just like, I don't know what to say, what to do. I don't know. But also, I would be doing them a great disservice by not giving them the opportunity to learn about my perspective because they don't know. You grew up mostly white neighborhoods, what, I don't know, whatever type of community you show up in, you're just not exposed to certain issues. Like, there are issues that I'm not exposed to. And so when I'm sitting in a panel discussion or whatever, and somebody brings up a specific issue, now every time the issue comes up, I think about that person. Every single time I'm like, oh yeah, so and so did talk about da 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 and how they be dealing with that. That's crazy. And I would be doing them a great disservice by not being in that room to share my perspective. I was the only Haitian, and I was one of two immigrant stories. There were, I believe, 108 women submitted their stories. Of the women who weren't there, I don't know. I don't know how many others had like immigrant stories because we only shared the stories of the people who were able to make it in person. So there were probably other ones, but I was one of two. And the other immigrant woman was, oh, I could be getting this wrong, but I could have sworn she said she was either Polish or she was from Scotland. She was either Scottish or Polish, but her husband is Trinidadian, and they have a daughter in the U.S. And they're like, they don't get to vote. They both live here. They don't get to vote. Will the daughter get to vote here? Does the daughter get to vote in the other countries? So that was very, very, very interesting. So yeah, I pushed through the fear. I've lived the story itself. What did Eleanor Roosevelt say? You've lived through the thing. You lived through the horror. And now I can talk about it. You know what I mean? I can talk about it. It seems impossible, but I can do it. And now I'm on the other side, of pushing through that fear, right? Here's the fear. I don't want to talk about like immigration stuff because I don't want the people to feel blah, 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 blah. And I don't want people to pity me and feel sorry for me. Girl, please. Push through the fear. And on the other side, I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the space to talk about my story. Actually, I do feel strong. Literally, let's reread the quote. Let's reread the quote, people. Let's reread the quote. You gain strength. I get to the other side, I'm like, oh shoot, like, this is crazy. I've overcome a lot. In the past 16 years of living in the US, I've overcome a lot. So if I live through that horror, I could take the next thing that comes along. Hello? If I live through just like the most horrid immigration policies by living in the US for the past 16 years, I could figure out living in another country, girl. It's gonna be nowhere close to this. 16 years living in America, there's no pathway to citizenship, no pathway to a green card, no pathway to nothing. 16 years of living here, and there are people who get to be citizens after 5 or 6 or 7, 16 years. Yeah, I want to see what it's like in a different country. Thank you very much. You gain strength, you gain courage. Now I feel courageous. Now I'm like, oh shoot, this is the realization that I was just talking about. Like, oh, like my story can inspire people. It can inspire people. It can kind of like be like oh shoot, Lynn, put a face to the issue, and then confidence. Now I have the confidence to share my story with others, which led me to a couple weeks ago, I went to my college. I went back to my college to talk about this, to talk about my immigration experience in the US and how it affected my time in college. I went to college in 2016. End of 2016 to 2020, it was a nightmare. I had a rough, I don't even know how I made it through. I lived through that horror. I can get through anything. I don't know how I got through. Okay, I went to a PWI business school, mostly male, mostly white male, mostly conservative white male who all voted for Trump. Haitian girl on campus, dealing with immigration issues. In the immigration office every day. Listen, this man done came in here And he's trying to cut the program that allows me to live in the US. He's trying to cut the program that allows me to come to school here. I might not come back in the fall. We'll talk. It's so funny. I made a video on here sharing my immigrant story, but I talked about it in Creole. Let's talk about it in English. I'm writing it down so I don't forget. But yeah, I talked about going back to Nichols. But I talked about it in Creole. We're gonna talk about it in English, so I can actually give y'all a full, not full, but like quick summary of what the past 16 years ish have looked like in my life. So yeah, this is, you know, the courage that it took to push through the fear, to push through the doubt the first time around, sharing my story like, hey, I don't really know what's gonna happen. Are these people gonna be mad at me? I think that's like, I was like, are they gonna be mad at me if I come in here and I'm like, I'm talking about immigration, I might be one of the only black women in the room, and here I am stirring up the pot. I do not want to stir up the pot. And these people are like, oh, this is wonderful, I learned so much. And I said, what? And I was like, yeah, you're right, I am strong, and I am courageous, and I am a confident black. You know, this is what it looks like in my life. This is the last time that I pushed through fear and took a risk. It's so crazy. I did not know this is where this video was gonna go, because I literally, as I'm thinking about it, I was like, it's not enough. I want to talk about something bigger. I want to talk about something that's really gonna hit them in the doodles. But like, actually, yeah, there's a lot in that. A lot of lessons in that. And so with what I've shared, do you see why this quote really gave me life? Like, the strength that I gained, the courage that I gained, the confidence that I gained by facing every experience where I came face to face with fear. I came face to face with doubt. I came face to face with imposter syndrome. I came face to face with self-sabotage. Hello? Hi? Anybody? So now I'm able to say, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. I lived through it. Girl, I lived through that. Send something else my way. What's good? Send something else my way. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. And I want to do it. That's how I'm challenging myself in this season. And I already said it. I've been talking about this on here vividly. But I somehow survived 16 years, 17? 16 or 17 years in the US, with policy changes, with uncertainty left and right. 16 years. Yeah, I can do 16 years in another country. What's good? What's actually good? So yeah. Let me know in the comments. Please answer this question in the comments. You have to ask yourself, it's part of the the study. It's a study. It's an actual psychological what is it? Mechanism. You have to ask yourself, when was the last time I pushed your fear and took a risk? All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.